returning to my indie game from Burnout. So I know a lot of people face this, not like with creative projects or creative block and stuff like that. And, for me, this is a boss battle that I have been fighting for a long time. And I'm going to tell you guys a bit of backstory of how I got into the place in the first place and pretty much what I'm doing about it right now. All right. So for the first thing is understanding myself. So I started to analyze myself and understand what habits have I been doing or caused me to think that, or what things are had caused me to get into burnout in the first place, and understanding myself and how I work. Like one of the things I understand about myself is it's like, okay, I need to limit myself and give myself a time limit on certain business things because I would work on a pitch for like 10 hours in a day. And sometimes it would be like, 10 hours straight or like several hours straight. I would literally not eat, you know, I was doing unhealthy habits, right? And the thing is, like, stuff like that requires a lot of mental energy. You have to take breaks from it. And you have to do the thing that, you love that keeps you doing it in the first place. And so I wasn't doing that. I completely disregarded that part to feed, this flesh right here, man. Like, to be able to take care of my body and my emotions and my soul, because my soul needs that creative. I need to create, man. It's like breathing air for me. But, I was just doing nonstop of the business stuff. So, like I said, okay, I got to limit myself, give myself a time limit. Say, all right, go create something for some time and then come back to that. Like, I was just like, nah, my team, like, we need a team. We need the team to be working full time. I got to get this money. I got to get this money. Oh, I got to fly out to GDC. Oh, I got to fly out to play NYC. Oh, I got to go here. Like, I got to go to DreamHack. I got to go to PAX. I got to go to all these conventions, man. There's all these companies that's going to be there. My team's relying on me. People are relying on me. Like, and I just put so much weight on myself, man. I wasn't taking care of myself. So that was the first thing I started doing. I said, dude, you got to analyze your habits and the things that cause you to get into this rut in the first place. Second thing I'm doing right now is fighting, like purposely fighting the boss battle. Like, and what I mean by that is understanding the opponent. Whenever you play a game and you getting dogged by a boss, what's the first thing you do? You say, okay, I'm getting destroyed. Why am I getting destroyed? Okay, the boss keeps doing this big final beam thing or like this attack and it takes half my health. It's like, all right, how do I not get hit by that? So the thing I'm doing now is understanding my opponent. The reality is that burnout is an adversary. And just like any adversary or opponent, you need to understand their attacks, their ways so that you don't get hit. And so that's what I'm doing now. I'm understanding what is burnout's tactics. And so that I could, be 10 steps ahead of it. And so that's one of the things I'm doing now is I'm taking the time out of my day to like journal, to write, to study my opponent, to go do research, whether I'm reading books, whether I go out in nature or something, or go out in the world, have conversations with people, get inspiration, like anything, information and data I can get on that opponent so that then I can start plotting and strategizing how I'm going to beat that opponent, not only beat the opponent, but prevent the opponent from ever touching or hitting me again. So that's the second thing I'm doing. The third and last thing that I'm doing is, and it's sort of like the first one, but it's just, I'm just going to reemphasize, enjoy creating. And now I'm enjoying creating again, right? I'm jumping back into animation. I'm jumping back into 3D modeling. I'm jumping back into like design and lighting and everything. Like I'm jumping back into that stuff, y'all. Like I always loved working on a game when I did. I always loved talking about the game. It's something that when I go to sleep at night, like that's what I'm freaking thinking about, dude. Like I'm freaking thinking like, oh man, or I'll see a game, like a game trailer. I'm like, man, we need to get our stuff out there. Like, man, forget all that. I'm a very competitive person. So I'm like, man, we could do better than that. Or we could meet up to that. And, so, I never, ever once said like, I hate the game or whatever like that. It was just, It wasn't the game itself that I burnt out from. It was all the business stuff. Here's some of my mechanisms on burnout, what I do to manage it. Time limits on mentally draining tasks, breaking things down into small chunks. So, if it's something mentally draining for you, like writing a paper, doing a pitch or whatever, and preparing for that, break it down into 1 hour chunks, and take a time of day when you're at your mentally best, your best mentally, and do it then. Don't go past that time limit. And then break it down into small chunks. You may say 1 hour here, the beginning of the day, and then 1 hour after lunch, and then that's it. Mixing in energizing activities like your passion projects or other things hobbies you enjoy doing, because that's going to help prevent burnout from even like overcoming you and building that backlog like it did with me in the first place. Reflection, daily, weekly, monthly. End of your day, man, take it with 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Just take some time to reflect. Saying, okay, what worked for today? What worked today? What didn't work? What can improve? That's what's worked for me. Daily and weekly reflection, taking what I'll do is I'll say maybe like a Saturday or Sunday. I'll sit down for about an hour, reflect. I may go for a walk somewhere. I may go to the beach, wherever, and reflect. And then a monthly one, maybe you take a weekend and go away somewhere, or you go for a little trip, or, just somewhere to take a little more time to reflect. And then, trying, you fail, you try, you fail, you analyze and adjust. Get up and do things. It's okay if you fail, because you're going to get data. You analyze that data and adjust to it, based on what worked and what didn't work. Like I said, for me, prayer, meditation, definitely, just, prayer, being able to send out information, to receive data. And also, the meditation is for me to really listen and receive. So for me to speak and share, and then send, and then for me to receive. And then the last thing, if it hurts, be present with the pain. And that includes, I'm gonna put one more last thing with that. And this is the thing I'm doing now. When I say be present with the pain too, you may have to detox, dopamine detox. So like no TV, no YouTube videos, video games, like anything that will, because what's happening to your brain with the dopamine when you're in burnout is that your brain wants these constant hits. It wants these constant hits of dopamine. And if you can't keep up with those constant hits, you're not going to get past that threshold to where you come out of the burnout. For a day, weekend, something to just away from the phone and all that stuff, the noisiness. This is what's been working for me, y'all. Aligning your tasks or business around your life and not vice versa. So what I mean by that is, like, if you're a night owl, do stuff at night. Maybe you're not a 9 to 5 person. I'm not a morning person. I'm not a 9 to 5 person. Absolutely not. This is when I prevail the most, man. I'm most creative at night. So it's like right now, as I'm recording this YouTube video, it's 1 a.m. where I'm at. It's like, this is, I'm aligning things in these tasks or the business around who I am. You know what I mean? Because I have to live with myself the rest of my life. So why not make things work for how, and my systems and everything around who I am, rather than to make it work around how the world works. And if you work a job, and that job requires you to be, say, 9 to 5, do small things in your life in that time that align, like whether it's your hobbies or projects or whatever that you want to turn to full time. you turn that into a reality with smaller steps. So when I started creating our indie game, it was just like, like the honeymoon phase, right? It was like the first date or whatever. And I was always excited to like jam on the game with my teammates and stuff because, it was me, Nick, the programmer, a concept artist. And what we would do is we would have these weekend jams or evening jams like once or twice a week. And man, I would look forward to that. Like, it was just so awesome. Every step of the way of it was just like, from creating a logo to like talking about the story of the game and all of that. Like, yo, I like the passion, the fire was just burning, y'all. But then something happened, man. It was like, okay, we got to a point where we were prototyping. And the thing is, you can only do so much without money. So, my teammates put a lot of work in and a lot of free time into the project. And, bills come up, man. Like, and some people got families and things. So, like, you got to find eventually money, right? Or you have to be able to feed yourselves through some type of job or whatever while you're working on your game. So we came to a stop and I got to this point where I said, okay, I have to find some money for us. I have to do pitch contests. I have to try to get us a publisher. I have to get us investors. I'm thinking about all this business stuff. Like and the more I did that, like the less I was creating. So, I started and the thing is when you're doing that stuff, when you're thinking about pitching or trying to get an investor, like that stuff can be draining, right? It's not very exciting. The more mental energy you spend on it, like that's what causes the burnout, especially if you're not creating and sharing and kind of getting that feedback, whether you share something weekly or monthly and then people like, oh man, whether it's 2 or 3 people to say, man, I love what you're doing to keep you pushing. So doing this for long periods of time, no sharing no creating or sharing creative work, I burnt out. That's how I got in that place of burnout. And, it's ugly. You don't feel like doing nothing. You don't trust that whatever you don't have the energy to do it, the motivation to drive. It could be very depressing. I've had times of me laying on the freaking couch or just laying in the bed looking at the ceiling like I love my game, but like, why am I not doing nothing? Like, based on my faith, man, like I believe that, we all come from a center, a root. We all come from the Most High. And this center energy, once we like we spread out from that, like this piece of light, say this is this ball right here that I'm creating in my hand, and you shoot out from that, like, and we go into the world, it's that we're a diluted version. Like we're not the purest version of what the source is. So it's like with your creation, when you have a vision, it's like the purest version of it. And then the more like we put it out into reality and stuff, like there's always some type of piece of it or something like that, or something that we do to it that kind of distorts or dilutes it in some type of way. And most importantly, protect your passion project or protect your passions, and that could be from other people. It could be from other people telling you like you're wasting time on it. It could be protecting it from yourself. Maybe there's some habits or things like what I did, right? It's like all this business stuff around it, right? Protect, your passions, man. Protect your passion project from anything that can ruin it. Yeah, that's pretty much like what I'm doing right now, y'all. And I'm very grateful to have this opportunity, man. This is one of the best times to be able to make video games right now. And I'm excited to be in this era. I'm excited to bring some new and different flavors to the industry and experiences, man. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I love y'all. Peace and blessings. I'm out.